Mellow greetings, fellow stationeers, and welcome back to Mimas with me, 54 Bear, where we are continuing the exploits of a brutal start with some colourful shoots, because why not? I did rejig these slightly just to get a little bit more headroom. Not that it's really needed, it just I thought looked a little bit better. It also gives me the opportunity of putting in glass chutes up here, which I may do. I'm having some issues with this chute right here. Every time I put in one of these overflows, it jams up and it goes up there. If I start a new game from, well, not, if I exit the game completely and come back in, it works once and then it stops working again. All the others seem to be okay. So temporarily I am just putting in a straight here and that seems to work. Unfortunately, iron is the one that is most likely to get jammed up because I mine a lot of iron. So not quite certain how I'm going to deal with that going forward. Ideally love to be able to get into the, to get away from the sorters entirely and use the program or use the digital flip-flop things. They can be programmed to be used as sorters if you're really good with the IC code. I'm not. I suspect I've got just a little bit of a learning curve there and haven't got to it. Anyway, for the moment, it seems to work. I haven't put any glass chutes in, so I've got no idea how many I have. I haven't put in any cobalt yet because I'm a little leery of throwing stuff that's going to off-gas volatiles into a hot furnace that has probably got a fair bit of oxygen or something in it. Yes, it's got, 0.5%. It would still ignite, but maybe not too much. So, maybe I can get away with it. I've also got some liquid in there, which I have addressed with this. So this is connected to the same network, so theoretically any liquid that accumulates in the furnace or the yellow pipes, the manifold, should vent through here. I did have a situation where I kept getting that four-way junction or four-way corner junction in there bursting, and I couldn't figure out why. But yeah, the pollutants will cool at different pressures than I had expected. On that same subject, I have added a passive drain here to get rid of liquid out of here. Again, it's mainly pollutants and stuff. At the moment, I'm still putting all the coolants that I'm getting into the cold tank, and I've probably got as much pressure as I want in there. The temperature is about right. The hot tank is probably as full as I want to get it, so for now we will close this off and we will vent all the pollutants that it filters out of this network. So that's a reasonable amount. So right now we will be pulling pollutants out of the purple tank, which is a good thing. And we are putting the H2 combustor output into the yellow tank. So that's a couple of 100 degrees warmer. I haven't actually turned on the cooling, so we're actually operating the override lever here. So when that's activated, the cooling system and filtration are both shut off. So we're not pulling any more in. I've got 30 megapascals of room temperature CO2, 3 megapascals of nitrogen, 7 of oxygen, and 15 of volatiles. Although the source of the volatiles is entirely stuff that I've mined. I don't have any process in place yet for converting spoiled food into that. I did or do have a load of spoiled food, and that, I mean, I was throwing it outside, to get it to spoil, and then Trader landed and he wanted half a dozen cans of tomato soup. So I obliged. Mr. Ingots, I think this is the guy that I've just called down. But it says it has 13 minutes left, so it can't be. Must be a different one. Whilst he's in the process of landing, I did put in the advanced furnace, the advanced oven and packaging machines, just because I didn't want to be making cans of soup by myself. Right, let's see if this guy is interested in anything I can flog him. Well, first of all, do I want anything? Not really. Okay, so I could sell him a bunch of ores. No. I don't really need any money, and to be honest, right now, I could shut off the trading system completely. In fact, I think I will. As I don't really need anything. I've got pretty much all the seeds. There are some, I think, that I don't have. I certainly don't have dargophones, but I think you have to build the really big trading stuff for that. And, I'm just not that bothered with it. Yeah, of course, out here we are going to get the whooshies because that chimney there is where the pollutants are being vented to right now. I'm not going to save the pollutants. There's really no point in it. I have more than enough hot gas and cold gas in both of those tanks. I have been degassing, which is why I somehow ended up with a lot of liquid pollutants in there, and I did end up with a burst pipe. Had to fix that. But yeah, we do have a fair amount in there. I haven't run that much lead through there because it does turn into ingots, and I'd kind of like to, but I have to get the temperature down to below 400 Kelvin, I think. Let's have a look. Go home, ingots, lead. Right, so it has to be below 400, but it has to be above 370 something. Otherwise, if it's below that, I think it's 100 degrees Celsius. Below that, the ores do not off-gas. And I would like to degas all of these. And for that, I'm going to need a little bit of precise control. I'm going to have to aim to keep it between, say, 375 and 385 or 390 or something. Not quite certain how I'm going to do that. The turbo volume pump that I have here is a little bit of a heavy fist for that kind of thing. So it may need a separate set of pipes, which is good, and valves and logic. I'll probably play around with that off camera because that's going to be very, oh dear, that didn't work, and what did I do wrong, and lots of humming and hawing. So, oh, I got all this silver and silicon I can put through as well. I forgot about that. As I would say, we can see it working, but really you don't. when you stand by here, you just see these doors flap, and where they stop flapping, you can tell where the ingot went out. Yeah, it'd be nice to have some form of counter in it, but the only way I could do it at the moment is using the import and export counts on each individual sorter, and that's a lot of work for minimal effort. And I don't know whether they reset after each game start. We can chunk the rest of it through. Do have to be cognizant of the pressure in there. In fact, I will blow off a little bit of pressure, get it down to about 20. And this is actually cooling down the cold gas as well, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Actually, let's have a quick look at the makeup of that. It does have some condensing pollutants in it. There's no volatile, so I don't have to worry about the nitrous oxide from the silver getting combusted. Nope, nowhere close. Also nowhere close. I'll do. Alright, so we're getting down to the temperature where I might be able to do some convert some lead into degassed ores without it having turned into an ingot. One of the advantages, I guess, of turning it into an ingot is I can have them stacked in 500s instead of 50s. So maybe I should just do that. But yeah, we do have a working distribution thing, so I can take one, and if I decide I don't need it, just pop it in there, and that goes through a junction into that sorter. If it's an ingot, it spits it out. If it's an ore, it goes through to the ore processing. So I still don't have any cobalt because I do want to do that separately when there is a bit less pressure in there. I should probably put an analyzer on this pipe network so I can see exactly what's in there. Okay, so just over 0.5% of oxygen, trace amounts of nitrous which are condensing. At these pressures and temperatures it wants to be a liquid. Same with the pollutants, they should all be coming out here. So yeah, in the world we see what this thing is putting out. Read the pipe, there we go. Yeah, I came around here and checked, and the stress was at 376%, and I thought, oh, that's unusual, and then the bloody thing blew up in my face. So, yes. You often find the need for a liquid drain where you didn't think you would actually need one. I would have thought the temperatures would have been okay, but yeah, my deep understanding of phase change is non-existent. I know it's there, I have a rough idea how to deal with it a little, but it still ends up biting me in the butt. Right, so to deal with the cobalt, because so I've got that there, and I do have some, I think, in my mining supplies somewhere. Not there. And of course, like everything else, it's always in the last place that you look. Oh, only a couple. Yeah, so I wouldn't be able to make an awful lot of the advanced stuff. Right, well, if I run the silver and gold through, I will pull out a lot of oxygen and nitrous oxide, but that's okay. That's getting put into currently the yellow tank. How does that look? Well, it has no volatiles in it, so that's kind of unusual. I'd have expected there to be some trace amounts of it, but there again we are dealing with a much cleaner fuel mix now, so maybe we get a lot less. Okay, well, that's good news. So I shall keep those running, and I shall run the silver and gold through. I also want to run this stuff through. That can be closed, get that off to one side. Bleed down the pressure a little. See, with the furnace in the hot box, it does stop the furnace from cooling down too much. Well, let's run the gold through. Stand a bit over here. Make certain nothing is coming back through the reject pile. That should be okay. You can see the little flappy movements just on the edge of each sorter, indicating the doors are doing the door thing. Right, well, let's get that one done. Get these done. Mix it up a little bit just for shits and giggles. Ah. Surprising, I would have thought the furnace would have built up a bit more pressure than this. Right, I think we can finish the silicon. Okay, that takes care of that. So that's empty. Oh, that's got a lot of stuff. Right, so I've got a bunch more copper and coal to take care of. Right, for the moment, I'm going to vent this. I'm going to bring in something that's a little warmer, I think, but we might be able to get away with doing the lead. Right now, I don't think it will turn into an ingot. The red button up there has not turned green, so it shouldn't be an ingot. But it should still smelt. We've got about 20 degrees worth of temperature that we can get that reduced by. So and that should be filling up the lead one, which it is. Good stuff. We may actually be lucky on here. Just going to try warming it up just a touch. Yeah, I think we are going to be golden. Okay, that's all that taken care of. Right, what happens when I put cobalt in? Oh, it got a lot hotter. No, 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 don't throw that in there. Right, let's turn the volatile filter on. So at least it will mitigate it. Okay, got rid of those. Alright, so it got a lot hotter. Oh no, 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 I probably put volatiles in the cold tank. Don't think I did that particularly well. I do have a gas sensor in there, but I don't have any way of reading the actual, I can't do a direct reading of the gases that are in there. And because it takes gas from the manifold, which is basically taking gas from the furnace, it would add volatiles into the hot box. I may need to rethink this. We got away with it. Let's see. Pipe network. Well, I've got nitrous in there, 17%. That's a fair old chunk. Don't appear to have any volatiles in the cold tank. Of course, I can't get a direct reading on it with this. Oh, yes, I can. Alright, so no volatiles in there but nitrous. So this should be pulling the nitrous out. Filter is still good.
Hunger critical. Hydration critical.
Oh, lovely. Time to go eat and drink again, but let's get the right. Well, if I at this temperature, whatever I throw in there is going to turn into ingots, except the coal. So I can run the coal through. That will cool it down again. I'll just put 200 coal through and see what it does. I'll do another 200. Well, to be honest, if I end up with a bunch of copper ingots, it would not be the end of the world. Yep. Okay, so that one's done, that one's done, that just has oxite, and that one's done. Alright, so all of that copper got properly smelted. But, yeah, not the end of the world. I always need the copper anyway. And I still have a fair amount of the tier 3 alloys and the tier 2, so don't think I'm going to need that much. I do regret not putting in glass chutes, at least in places, so that I can get some idea of quantity. That was an oversight, and of course if I go through and dismantle now, then if there is a surplus beyond where the glass chute goes, then they are going to go all over the place. Not the most ideal way of dealing with things. Okay, so that's I guess we'll take these upstairs. Editor Bear here. I'm chopping off this video now because there's 20 minutes of absolute dross talking about tomatoes and stumbling over words and just generally not good content. So I'm ending the video here. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. 54 Bear out.